When Julius Fabricius, sub-prefect of the Weald, in the days of Diocletian owned our lower river field, he called to him Hobdenius, a Briton of the clay, saying, "What about that river bit for laying into hay?" And that aged Hobden answered, "I remember as a lad, my father told your father that she wanted draining bad, and the more that you neglect her, the less you'll get her clean. Have it just as you've a mind to, but if I was you, I'd drain." So they drained it long and crossways in the lavish Roman style. Still today among the river drift we find their ancient tile, and in drouthy middle August, when the bones of meadows show, we can trace the lines they followed 1800 years ago. And Julius Fabricius died as even prefects do, and after certain centuries imperial Rome died too. Then did robbers enter Britain from across the northern main, and our lower river field was won by Ogier the Dane. Well could Ogier work his warboat, well could Ogier wield his brand. Much he knew of foaming waters, not so much of farming land. So we called to him a Hobden of the old unaltered blood, saying, "What about that river bit? She doesn't look no good." And that aged Hobden answered, "'Tain't for me to interfere, but I known that bitter meadow now for 55 year. Have it just as you've a mind to, but I've proved it time on time. If you want to change her nature, you have got to give her lime." Ogier sent his wains to Lewis, 30 hours solemn walk, and drew back great abundance of the cool grey healing chalk. And old Hobden spread it broadcast, never heeding what was in't, which is why in cleaning ditches now and then we find a flint. Ogier died, his sons grew English, Anglo-Saxon was their name, till out of blossom Normandy another pirate came. When Duke William conquered England and divided with his men, our lower river field he gave to William of Warenne. But the brook, you know her habit, rose one rainy autumn night and tore down sodden flitches of the banks to left and right. So says William to his bailiff as they rode their dripping rounds, "Oh, but what about that river bit? The brook's got up no bounds." And that aged Hobden answered, "'Tain't my business to advise, but you might have known 'twould happen from the way the valley lies. Where you can't hold back the water, you must try and save the soil. Have it just as you've a mind to, but if I was you, I'd spile." So they spiled along the watercourse with trunks of willow trees, backed with planks of elm behind them and immortal oaken knees. And when the spades of autumn whirl the gravel beds away, we will find their faithful fragments, iron hard in iron clay. Georgi Quinti Anno Sexto, I who own the river field, am fortified with title deeds, attested, signed and sealed, guaranteeing me my assigns, my executors and heirs, all sorts of powers and profits, which are neither mine nor theirs. I have right of chase and warren, as my dignity requires. I can fish, but Hobden tickles, I can shoot, but Hobden wires. I repair, but he reopens certain gaps which men allege have been used by every Hobden since a Hobden swapped a hedge. Should I dog his morning progress, or the track betraying dew, demand the dinner basket into which my pheasant flew, confiscate the evening faggot under which my conies ran, and summons him to judgment, I would sooner summons Pan, for his dead are in the churchyard 30 generations laid. His name was old in history when Doomsday Book was made, and the passion and the piety and prowess of his line were seeded, rooted, fruited in some land the law calls mine. Not for any beast that burrow, nor for any bird that fly, would I lose his large sound counsel or his keen amending eye. He is bailiff, woodman, wheelwright, field surveyor, engineer, and if flagrantly a poacher, 'tain't for me to interfere. Oh, but what about that river bit? I turn to him again, with Fabricius and Augia and William of Warren. Have it just as you've a mind to, but... And here he takes command, for whoever pays the taxes, old Mus Hobden owns the land.